Kindly confirm here in the chat window all the local coordinators if your center participants have joined back. So good to know. We are just going to start with the practice part. Kindly confirm whether my screen is visible to you or not.
No, ma'am, it's not visible.
Now it is visible.
Yeah, now it is visible, ma'am.
So is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly confirm in the chat window. Okay, fine. Thanks. So dear participants, in this session, we are going to practice about how Python data structures can be utilized for essentially giving support for storage of data, retrieval of data, and how you can perform the additional operations related to data set, like searching the data set, or if you want to add additional elements, or if you want to remove them. So these are the 5 basic operations that we normally want to perform: addition, deletion, retrieval, searching a particular item. So Python supports 3 different kind of data structures. Sometimes we refer to them as sequences also. So I'm using here Python 3.9.0, and you can also check for your Python version in case if you're not aware of. As we know that Python is very simple and versatile language, and it gives support for different kind of application areas or domains. So the official website for Python is python.org. One of the advantage for using Python is that it is having a strong community, Python software development community support. So in case if you are stuck up somewhere, you will find lot of web portals where your queries can be resolved. One of them is Stack Exchange, and the rest can be Geeks for Geeks, and so many other websites are also there. Usually, where you can find the solution for the queries or the problems that you are facing. Another features can be Python supports all kind of programming like object-oriented programming, procedural programming, functional programming, data flow programming, and event-driven programming as well. It can be utilized for all your basic tasks plus the advanced tasks. You have seen in the first 2 days that how Python can be used for machine learning. So those who are aware of Python basics, for them it is just a revision. But in case if somebody is just a beginner, so we can go through quickly for all the data structures, and you can find out how these data structures helps you a lot. So, in addition to doing simple calculations, data cleaning work, statistical analysis, machine learning algorithms implementation, SNA, social network analysis, image processing, IoT based work, sentiment analysis, whatsoever application you think of, Python is having support of all this kind of stuff. So, if you know Python supports more than 1,30,000 packages, or you can say libraries, which can be utilized as per your requirement. So when we install Python on our machine, so usually we don't go for installation of all those libraries, but particularly only basic Python is installed. And as and when we need to install some library, we go for downloading the same library, and then you can go for its installation. So the three basic steps are: first you identify the particular libraries available in that particular domain. You can search for the same on the internet, on the official website as well. And then you can download that particular library and include it in the root folder. I hope you might have observed where your Python is stored on the machine. So if you know that the exact path of the Python folder where it is installed, so you can simply copy that particular that particular editor is useful for them. Till now, we have seen how to make use of Python Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Lab, Dr. Sarabjit has used Jupyter Lab, which is quite similar to Jupyter Notebook. You can also run your programs in case if Python is not installed. You can directly run it on Google Colab, and for that you need to just log in with your Gmail ID and you can start working with Google Colab. You can also use PyCharm, Python Integrated Development Environment, or Python Shell, usually we say, and Spider. So these are the revision platform, and there are many more also available. So depending upon your comfort level, you can choose the one which is fulfilling your need. So sometimes we prefer one editor over the other due to certain reasons, like I prefer working in Jupyter Notebook and Spider because these are particularly supports well for data science work, machine learning work, analysis work. So if your requirement is somewhat different, you can look for the appropriate Python editor and accordingly you can work with. So some of the characteristics of Python are: it is a free and open source interpreted high level programming language for general purpose programming. It also supports desktop and web applications. So we do have support for web applications also. So in case if you want to develop some web application, you can also utilize Python Django framework. And we are already working with desktop based applications that also can be done. You can also connect Python program with some database. For that, SQLite can be used and other databases can also be connected. So that is primarily not the main focus of this FDP, but just for your information sake, you can go for all this kind of stuff, which you usually do in other programming languages. And Python is having a upper hand because it supports various domains. It provides constructs that enable clear programming on both small and large scales. So if you're looking for, a set of code which includes 1,000 lines, so it's quite confusing if you work in, let's say, Spider or so, because 1,000 lines working at the same time. So it's quite tough and complex work. So what we can do, the modular programming approach, so you can break up your code in small set of codes or lines, and you can run them separately, as you might have observed that in Jupyter Notebook, as right now my screen is on Jupyter Notebook only, and you can say here that set of let's say 8 to 10 lines are splitted within some rectangular box. So this particular area is referred as a one particular cell in Jupyter Notebook, and if you want to select, you can select a particular cell, and within that you can write. So you may find that there is slight difference in the appearance of this. Some hash symbols are visible because right now in this particular cell I am in editing mode. So whatsoever is visible in this blue color, it's basically a particular type of, you can say, comment or information for me. So the type of the cell is marked down over here. This is not a cell where I have included Python code. This all is for just information. So it was created by Guido van Rossum and initially released in 1991. Python is having a design philosophy that emphasizes upon the code readability, and the main concept that we are focusing upon is the white space management, or sometimes we also refer to it as indentation management. Usually we are not using any kind of parentheses or some kind of curly braces in order to just tell the compiler that here the code is starting and at this point the loop is ending. So you might have observed in programming languages like C or C++, Java, that we generally start with some kind of functions or some kind of loops with certain boundaries defined by the parentheses. So in Python, you don't need all such things. It is primarily working with white space management or indentation management. So if I want to specify the coding for a particular loop, I will have to start each and every line within that loop from the same space, you can say. Let's say if I have started my line within the for loop after leaving four spaces, so rest of the line should also be leaving the four spaces before writing anything. So this indentation part you will come to know in rest of the code. And in case if you have made some mistakes, so definitely it will raise some error message. It can be utilized across platforms, and many variations of Python are quite popular, like Python or Jython. So it supports compatibility with already existing languages also, and you can run your already existing code as well. So that support is provided. So the focus of this particular session is to make you aware about the data structures. So as I said, there are three types of main data structures. Out of them, list and tuples are two of them, and the third one is data dictionary. So they are also referred as a sequence in which you are having the data type, a sequence in the data type that represents some sort of group of elements. So group of elements may be of the same data type or they may be of the different data type. So you will come to know the difference between the three particularly or commonly used data structures in Python. These are used to store and process group of elements. So you can have strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. All these are examples of Python sequences. So if I come upon this first type of data structure, that is list, it is similar to arrays, but it can store different types of elements. I hope all of you understand the difference between list and arrays. Arrays allows you to store only homogeneous type of data values. But when it comes to list, you can allow even heterogeneous data values to be stored and accessed using list data structure. So before using any kind of data structure, you should be fully aware of what is your requirement. You can work with arrays, you can work with lists, data dictionary, tuples, and so on. Even you have a provision for declaring sets, and some predefined advanced data structures are also there. So if you want to explore, you can go for that. So list is particularly referred as a mutable data structure. So there are two types of data structures in Python, mutable and immutable. List is referred as a mutable data structure. That is, it allows you to change or modify, add and delete items in a list. So lists are versatile and useful than arrays. So particularly when we are having heterogeneous data, so you can mention your data by using the list, and you can perform all these operations. So it is of mutable data type. But the data structures like tuples, they are reverse of this. They are immutable data structures where you can only create them and you can retrieve the item stored in that, but you cannot change or modify, add or delete any new items. So if in case there is certain requirement like this, then you can go for tuples. So usually lists are preferable to store heterogeneous data, as I have already shared with you. And in order to identify whether your data is stored in list, you can go for identification using these square brackets. So usually when we initialize a list data elements, you will find the list of elements within the square brackets. And when it comes to tuples, you will find small parentheses. And data dictionaries allows to initialize data within the curly brackets. So this is one of the difference among the three. Slicing and indexing can be done on list to retrieve the elements stored in the list. So you will come to know what does this slicing and indexing means. Indexing means just like arrays, you can refer to the elements stored in list with the help of their index value. And usually the index value of a list starts with the zero index. But one more advantage with the Python list is that list also allows to retrieve the elements in the reverse order. So in the reverse direction, if you want to retrieve the elements, so you can go for -1 index, then -2, and so on. So if your list includes, let's say, 3 values, so your uh, elements index will be 0, 1, 2. But if you want to refer to them in the reverse order, so it will be -1, -2, -3. So this is going to be the sequence of index values. Always it starts with 0 from left to right, and if right to left you are going to access the elements that is in reverse order, then start with -1 index. So tuples and lists, you can say these are both zero index based data structures, and you can access the elements in the reverse order also. In tuples and list, when we are talking about some kind of range that you want to mention, then in the range you will come to know that the starting and stopping index are there. So starting index is always inclusive. Suppose if I want to retrieve the elements stored in the list from 1 to 3, first element to third element. So you know very well that the list starts with zero index. So the one index is inclusive. It will show you or retrieve the element corresponding to the first index. But the last index is 3. So your list last element that will be retrieved will be index number 2. So kindly tell here in the chat window whether this point is clear or not. Inclusive and exclusive. The stopping index of list data structure is 1 minus than the stop index. So if you are mentioning stopping index as 5, so it means it will retrieve the elements only up to 4th index, not up to 5th index. So you will have to take care. If you are particularly bothering about accessing the 5th index value also, then specify the stopping index as 6. Is it clear? Local coordinators and participants, is this concept clear? Because range is quite useful while retrieving the elements, whether it is tuple or it is a list, both are index based data structures, and you need to understand how to access more than one elements at a one time. So just like arrays, if you're particularly mentioning a particular index, then definitely it will only mention that value, otherwise you can go for more than one values. So as I said, you can check for your Python version. So you can see here that I have mentioned here import sys. This is a system library, and by using sys.version or sys.version underscore information, you can just look for the Python version which is installed on your machine. I hope you can just look into this line, which is the output of the first 2 lines. So if I will simply say sys.version, it will tell me which version is installed here. So on my machine, Python 3.8.3 is installed, and latest version is 3.9 point something. So you can look for the latest version available on the Python official website, and if I will type sys.version underscore information, then it means this 3 is known as major, 8 is known as minor, and micro version is 3. So it will tell all these things in detail by using the second command that I have just mentioned at the top. Now let us see how to create a particular list. So if my objective is to store the elements referring to marks of students in a list, so the simple syntax is marks equals to, within square brackets you can mention the list of values, and then we can display by using the print statement as shown here. Print display complete list, and I am following the comma with the name of the list, marks. So as an end result, it will simply display all the elements included in the marks list. And by using the for loop, you can also explore or iterate over the list. Is it clear, participants? Like for loop is used for num in marks. So this in here is association operator. Is it visible, or shall I increase the size? Please mention here in the chat window. Are you able to read the code size? Is the code readable to you? Okay, fine. Is it fine now? So in the for loop, we are simply trying to iterate over the list, right? So for num in marks, so as you know that marks is the name of the list. Num is the variable in which we are fetching one by one all the elements in the list. In is the association operators. So it is just like if the value belongs to the list, then it will just add a 5 to it, and it will simply print all the values one by one. This simple print without any argument is used to put cursor to the next line. So it means after running this complete loop, it will leave a blank line in between before displaying the next output. So similarly, you can have further different kind of formats for print. I am interested in just accessing the marks of the student at his 0th index. So just like arrays, you can mention name of the list within square brackets 0, followed by marks of the last student. If your list includes 5 students' marks, so the last index will be 4. With the help of the length method, you can retrieve the length of the list. LEN within brackets name of the list. So it will fetch how many elements are there in the list? 5. So in actual, the last element index is 4. So I will do here manually -1 in order to retrieve the last element. So this is the alternate way how you can come to know what is the last index, right? So if whatsoever is the length of the list, -1 is the last index of the list. Otherwise, you will have to explicitly mention within the square brackets. I hope it is clear up to this point. Yes, participants, kindly mention here in the chat window. Similarly, as I said, list allows you to, store the other type of data values also. So if your list is consisted of some string values, so in Python, string values can be stored within double quotes or single quotes. As you can see here, all the values are separated by comma, and as these are strings, so I have included all the values within double quotes. So this is list of grocery, and above line is comment. In Python, you can put the comments by using the single hash, or you can make use of triple quotes in the beginning and triple quotes at the end to mention a multi-line comment. I will show you some multi-line comment is here. So if it is a multi-line comment, then what you can do, you can put 3 quotes like this. Within this, you can put your comments, right? So it is for multi-line comment. Triple quotes in the beginning and triple quotes at the end. If you are putting a hash symbol, it is just for the single line comment. Now let us move on to the next example. So my next example is focusing on how to store the roll number of the students along with the student names. One is basically a numeric value, that is the roll number of the student, followed by the name of the student. That is the string value. So your list can be a mix of 2 different type of data values also, 1 comma Yash, 2 comma Priyanka, and so on. So I have mentioned here roll number first and then name of the student. So in this manner, you can go for a mix element also. Next is there is one function which is referred by the range name. Range is a method which allows you to create a list. Starting from 15, it will end up to 22. Are you getting me? And at the end, I have not mentioned. So there are 3 values which I am passing to the range method. Start index, starting value, ending value, and increment value. So by using this range method, can you please tell me what will be the output of this line? I am pasting it here in the chat window. Please tell me what will be the output. What will be the output of this? Any guess? So it's a nested function basically. First of all, we are using the range method, and range method allows you to create a list starting from 15. It means it will start with 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Start to stop, and 1 is the increment value, and finally it will convert it into list, right? Are you getting it? So it will also convert it into list, means square brackets it will put. So it will first create a list of values using the range method and convert it into list data structure. So I can show you the output as well. You can see here, this kind of output will be visible within square brackets. So it tells you that it is a list. Now the next format is if I simply put list range 10. So it will just generate a consecutive numbers and convert it to list. It will start by default from 1. It will go up to 10. 10 values. I hope you can see here the output. It will generate the 10 values. Because I have not mentioned any starting value. So by default, it will create list starting from 0 up to index 9. So total 10 elements. Now let us see some additional things about list. Sometimes our requirement is to create a nested list. So just focus on these lines which I am going to mention here. FM2 equals to this kind of structure. So here I have enclosed 2 values within square brackets. Aditya, 11, Srishti, 13, Rishu, 21, Upma, 23. And this further is enclosed outer square brackets. So it means it's a nested list which is consisted of sub list. So there are 4 lists within the main list FM2. And if I want to refer to Aditya, 11, so could you please tell me what will be the index value? I am trying to print the second element of the list. FM2 is the name of the list within square brackets 2. It means it will display ratio comma 21. Because this first pair of, or this first sublist is index 0, second sublist is having index 1, the third sublist is having index 2. So with respect to FM2 within square bracket 2, you will get the output ratio comma 21. Similarly, if particularly you want to display the age of the student ratio, so how you will do it? FM2 within the first square bracket, write the number of the sublist, and the second square bracket enclose the indexing within the sublist. So ratio is at index 0, 21 is at index 1. And this is particularly list number 2. So please try to understand this particular syntax. It is all about how to retrieve the elements stored in the nested list. So nested list is having its indexes for the sublist starting with 0. Now 0 doesn't mean a single element. It may be a list of values, because each individual element of the nested list is also a list. Please convey here in the chat window if it is clear to all of you. Okay, thank you. So we can now proceed further. So in this manner, we can retrieve the elements. And there is one more way to retrieve the elements by using. It is not a range method, but it is also one kind of range that we are mentioning for the index. It will be utilized quite frequently. FM1 is the name of the list. It is not a nested but a simple list, including name and student's age. If I am writing here 1 column 3, 1 column 3, 1 is the starting index and 3 is the last index. But if you will look into the elements that are displayed, so it will only start with 11. Aditya is at 0 index, 11 is stored at index 1. So it will start with 11. Srishti is at index 2. It will not include 13 value which is stored at index 3. As I told you, the stopping value is exclusive. It will not be included. So you will have to always remember that last index value element will not be included. Now it comes to, after retrieval, how we can assign a value to a list. So you can put here the index value of the list and store the value. I am interested in storing 20 to the FM1 fifth index. So this value will be saved at index 5. If you want to say change more than one values at a one go, like I am trying to change the values at index 1 and 2 in a single line. So what I will do, on the left hand side, I will mention the index values ranging from 1 up to 3. 1 up to 3 means it will include 60 and 70. These two values will be changed. These two values will be replaced with 64 and 72. And you can see here the output as well. So these two values are replaced. In place of 60, 64 will come, and in place of 70, 72 will be replaced. Next operation is about deletion of element. For this, we are having delete command, del, name of the list, and you can mention the index value. So if you want to remove the element marks is at index 3, you can go for it by using the delete method. Now here is one small, change over here. If you are interested in deleting a particular element and you want to make it dynamic rather than static, so what you can do, you can ask the user to enter the element to be removed. And outside this, I am writing here input. Input is basically a method which will allow you to pop up with a window where you can enter the element. I can show you the output of this and how it will execute. So can you find out here that name marks is not defined? The only reason for this is because this complete script has already been executed, and in order to bring the output at the right track, I need to restart and run all. Please remember, if your script is already executed in sequence, it means some prerequisite was needed. So now it will ask enter the element to be removed. If I say 2, press enter. So the element removed at index 2 was, now you can identify what was the element at index 2. It was 72. So answer will be 50, 64, 75, 80. Else. So here we have used if else structure. So the point which I have mentioned earlier, that it is not using any kind of parenthesis, but no doubt along with any kind of loop, function name and if construct, this colon is needed at the end. And in the else clause, it will simply print the element to be removed is not found in the list. So in order to remove the element which has been just entered by the user, I have converted my input into integer value. So you need to remember that as and when we are asking for any user input, it is by default string value. So you need to convert it into integer value first, only then you can go for any kind of computation. So if the value of to be removed variable is found in marks list, are you getting me? If this value that you are interested in deleting is in marks, then only it will remove this particular element. So marks dot remove, and within arguments, within this parenthesis, you can pass the value of to be removed. So it will remove that particular element. Any query till now? Just give your response here in the chat window. This is the first kind of data structure which is very useful because it is mutable. Our preferences are when your data structure allows to perform all kind of operations. If we are constrained with only creation and retrieval, then definitely you won't be able to do changes. So that is the tuple data structure where you can only mention the values which are supposed to be not to be changed once they are created. Further, the next is how you can go for appending the elements. So in order to add the elements, there is a method with the name append. There is another method with the name insert. When you're using append method, so it is always going to add single element to the end of the list. So you can mention the element which you want to append at the end of the list. But particularly if you are interested in inserting an element at a particular index, so you can always mention the index value and the element to be inserted over there. So these are the two different syntaxes. Just a minute, we'll start. So we were discussing the append method, which allows you to add the element at the end of the list. Similarly, insert method, which allows to insert element at a particular index. So two arguments will be needed. And if you want to extend a particular list with elements of another list, then we can also make use of extend method. So by using the extend method, you can add the elements in list 2 to the end of the list which is mentioned. So let's say there is one list, list 1. So you can extend that list by adding elements from another list. And the same job can be done by using concatenation operator or plus operator also, which will allow you to add the elements of the two lists. So we are going to see with the help of example all these things. I am having two lists, S1 and S2. So if I simply perform S1 plus S2, so what will be the output of this? Can you see here 10, 20, 30, 40, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it will simply append the elements in the second list after plus sign to the first list. Then comes insert method, S1 dot insert. So I'm looking for adding a element 25 at index 2 in the S1 list. S1 is the name of the list. I want to insert element at index 2 and the value to be inserted is 25. So the output of this will be, this is the S1 list 0, 1, 2. Means after 20, it will insert 25. You can see here the output as well. 10, 20, 25, 30, and 40. So in this manner, it will perform this operation where it will insert the element. Like you are having S1 dot append S2. So you can see the output of this also, how it will do. So this is our last list, 10, 20, 25. After some changes has been done to the initial list, we have inserted 25 in that, 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. And then it's 45, another element. So now we have appended the list. Just try to observe the syntax that is shown here. The complete list S2 is added as single element. This is one list element. I hope it is visible to all of you. 11, 12, 13, 14. 11, 12, 13, 14 are the elements in the S2 list. So after append operation, it will just add this complete list as the last element. And if you will perform S1 dot extend S2, it means I am having a list S1 above. Just look into it. Now the current state of S1 list is complete above. 10, 20, 25, 30, 30, 40, 45, 11, 12, 13, 14. And after comma, you can see here each individual element in this list will be added as separate item. This is a very important difference. Please focus on the last two lines. How the output will be appearing after running append command, S1 dot append S2, or the output after the extend command. If you have any query regarding append and extend, you can ask. Yes, participants, is it clear what is the main difference between append and extend? What about other centers? I have received 2 responses out of 20. Other centers are present or not? So usually
Good afternoon,
what?
yes, ma'am. We are present here.
Okay, okay, ma'am. So actually, I'm seeing here in the chat window, right?
Ma'am, we are present
So
here.
okay, okay, fine. So what actually happens when it comes to append and extend? The minor difference is there. Elements will be added, but you can see here that in case of append, the complete list is added as in one single element, just like a sublist. But in the case of extend, all the individual elements in the second list will be added as a separate element. So it means in the first case, there is a change in case of one element additional, that is a complete list. But in the second case, 4 new items separated by comma will be added. Now next is repetition of list. If in case you are looking for some kind of repetition of elements, so rather than typing all the elements again, the simple multiplication operation works on this. I'm writing here S3 into 2. So could you please tell me what will be the output in this case? If we are writing S3 into 2, S3 is a list containing 4. So as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 times the list is repeated. So in this manner, you can repeat the elements if quickly you want to enter the values. Further, if you want to access the index of a particular item in the list, then there is a method, index method. S4 is the name of the list, dot index, and I'm passing here the value 4. 4 is the item basically, but I'm not aware of what is the index value where 4 is stored. So you can put the name of the list, dot index, index of which element? Of element 4. So now can you tell me what is the index value of element 7 in the list S4? What is the index value of element 7? I'm putting this here in the chat window. I'm asking you what is going to be the index for the element 7. Correct, it is 5. So I received response from Pooja Sharma and Dr. Varsha, Mr. Javed, Madhu Sharma, Ramesh. Good. So in this manner, it will just allow you to retrieve the index particularly. So sometimes we need to process something on the basis of retrieval of the index value for the item. Another method is copy method. If you want to copy as it is some list, right? S5 is equal to S4 dot copy. So the entire list will be now copied to S5, and S5 list will be also having the same elements. So it means this is the added advantage of using Python. You are having access to lot many functions. So depending upon your requirement, you can find out. In fact, these are not in entirety. I am trying to give you a broader view. So you may find a few more functions also that can be applied on list, like count method, S6.count. S6 is a list, and I'm interested in count the occurrences of value 2. So you can see here that it has shown me 3. So if it would have been a C programming language or C++, you should have written some code for counting the occurrence of the element 2. But here you can simply make use of count method, and you have seen that I have not even imported some extra library. So by using the basic Python only, you will find that there is a count method, and you can put here the element. which you are interested in. So for element 2, it will find all the occurrences. So there are 3 occurrences of element 2 here in the above list. Then comes pop method. Pop method allows you to retrieve the last element just like stack. And sort method allows you to sort the elements in the list. You can simply apply S6, that is name of the list, dot sort. And in case if you want to put your result in reverse order, then there is an argument reverse which you can set to true. So in this case, it will show you the list in descending order. So next I'm going to make use of another method that is known as set. So primarily I'm having 2 lists, but I know that intersection cannot be performed upon list. But Python allows me to have added advantage of converting one data structure to another. So I can easily convert my 2 lists provided into sets. So set 1 is equal to S7 I have converted into set. And similarly, I am also having another list S8 that has been again converted into set by using the set method. Now what I will do, I will perform intersection among the 2, set1 dot intersection, and I will pass the second set in the argument. So now the output that I will get, so the output of intersection will be between first 2 sets will be, what are the common elements above? So it is 2, 3 and 7. There are 3 elements which are common. So if you can see here, I want to return the result in the form of list. So that's why the output returned by the intersection operation will be converted back into the list. So that's why my result is shown within square brackets. So in this manner, intermediate conversion can be done from list to set or set to list. I hope this example is clear to all of you. So I have ended up with the first data structure, that is list. So kindly convey if it is clear. So similarly, you can explore many more methods that can be utilized with Python list. So if you have understood all these things with respect to one data structure, so you will find that there are many common things with other data structures with minor changes. So next is our tuple data structure. You can see here that fruits is one of the tuple that I'm mentioning here within parentheses. The rest of the basic fundamentals are same. If these are integer values, go for without double quotes. If the values within the tuple are string values, go for values within double quotes. But the things to understand over here is, like, I cannot go for any kind of assignment, new assignment I cannot do. I want to make changes with respect to tuple at index 1. The way to retrieve the elements is same by using index, but I cannot assign any new value. In place of banana, I cannot store grapes. It will not allow. If you want to delete the value, like delete method, within that I am passing fruits 1. It means I am trying to delete the value at index 1. This also is not permissible. These 2 operations are not permissible. Definitely you can retrieve. So these are the different syntax for slicing and indexing. You can specify single index. You can specify only starting value, no ending value. It means it will start from 2, it will go up to the end of the tuple. If I'm mentioning no starting value, only ending value, it means it will start from index 0, it will go up to index 1. If I'm mentioning both starting and stopping value, it will start with 1, it will go up to 3. If I'm mentioning -2, it means it will start from -2. In reverse order, it will display. Only the value at -2 index means second last element it will display. So if all these methods are clear, the range method, this is known as slicing and indexing. So in Python Jupyter Notebook, each individual cell can be run and you can see the output. If particularly you are interested in running only single cell, you can run that. But the only thing is you should remember that it should not be linked with some prior cell. Are you getting this point? If your code in one cell is connected with code in the previous cell, so it's mandatory to run that previous cell first and then the cell which is following it. Otherwise, it will just raise an error message. Now, one more important data structure is left, that is data dictionaries. So these are some of the essential points with respect to data dictionaries. So Python allows you to create a data structure or data values where you can create an association between the two things, keys and corresponding values. So it represents basically a group of elements arranged in the form of key, comma, value pair. So we are having key value pair separated by colon within that. So the value which comes before the colon is known as key, and the value which comes after the colon, it is known as value. And all the elements in dictionary are enclosed within curly brackets. So one single value in data dictionary means one key value pair. So if you are having such kind of 5 key value pairs in data dictionary, so the total number of elements in the data dictionary will be 5. Next point is values in dictionary are accessed by key values only, and it returns value corresponding to that key. I hope you can see here the code which I have included. Name colon Ishan, ID colon 1, marks colon 350. And the name of the data dictionary is dictionary 1. The first key is name. Now, one important difference here is list and tuple are numeric index based data structures. But in case of data dictionary, you can also have string type of index values. This string name is an index, ID is an index, marks is an index. So indexes are not like 0, 1, 2. Here you can specify any particular name also. So the name of the person is Ishan, ID here is 1, the marks here is 350. It means value before the colon is key and value following the colon is referred as value. Important points to know over here is no two keys should have same value. Are you getting it? No two keys should have same value. It means I cannot mention more than one key value pairs with the same ID. I cannot repeat name. I need to have some other ID. So that name for the two keys should not be same. Keys in dictionary are immutable objects and case sensitive. So this is very important point. Keys in a data dictionary are immutable objects. It means on the left hand side of column, that is before column, I can have string, I can have numeric value, integer, I can also have here tuple, but I cannot specify some list over here. Please specify whether this point is clear or not. Before colon, I can have any string as an ID or key. I can also have some numeric value. I can also have tuple, but I cannot mention list. Specify the reason why. If you have understood the point, please mention what is the reason. Why in a data dictionary I cannot include a value of list data type before colon. Yes, any response? Please listen to query again. My question was, why before colon? Data dictionary is a key value pair. Why before colon I cannot include a list? Because lists are mutable. Very good, Mr. Satyavrat Sahu. So lists are basically mutable kind of data values. So they can be manipulated. But the essential requirement for keys in a tuple are that they should be immutable. Right? And they should not be changed. It is just like in a database, we are always having a column with unique values or distinct values. So just like that, in a data dictionaries, your two keys should not be same and they should be of immutable data type. So next point is dictionary is indexed by unique keys. We can select, update and delete items in a dictionary. So just like your earlier list data structure, you can select the elements, you can update the items, and you can also delete items in a dictionary. Dictionary items cannot be accessed using index. So here how you will fetch the elements by specifying the key. Here index is not used 0, 1, 2. Here we will make use of key. Assigning to a key that doesn't exist adds a new entry in a data dictionary. So the last point means if I'm trying to assign a value to a key in a data dictionary which is not already existing, so it will consider it as a new key value pair. Like here in this example, there are only 3 key value pairs. But if I want to add address also, contact number also, so this particular entry is not already existing. It will add a new entry here in this particular data dictionary. So this is the meaning of the last point. So as you can see here, if you want to retrieve items from data dictionary, simply mention the name of the key. If you want to print Ishan, so I should pass here name. If you want to print 1, you should pass ID over here. If you want to print this value 350, then you will have to pass marks key within the data dictionary name. Please convey, if it is clear to all of you, how to retrieve elements stored in the data dictionary. Yeah, value you can have, sir. On the value side you can have, but not on the side of key. Key cannot be mutable, but definitely values you can have. Let's say one person is having 2 mobile numbers. So you can create a data dictionary, creating association between the name of the person and their contact numbers. Could you please do that for me? Type here in the chat window. The question here is you want to create a data dictionary of phone numbers. One number is, let's say, your residence number, another is your office number. Corresponding to every person, I will be storing the 2, let's say 2 numbers. So your query is here to put the list on the left hand side of key value pair, right? So after the column, you can specify the list. Can you write here the syntax? contact number list. So within curly brackets, first you will mention within double quotes the name of the person, followed by colon, and then within square brackets you can mention the two contact numbers. So I hope this concept is clear to all of you. Retrieval of items from the data dictionary. So that's why we usually say that list and tuples are index-based data structures, but not data dictionary. They are using keys as their index. Similarly, you can identify the length of the data dictionary by using the LEN method. And as I said, in case of data dictionary, one single element will be counted as the first key value pair, index 0. The next key value pair, this is another value, and the third. So 1, 2, 3. Length of the data dictionary DICT1 will be 3. So if you want to assign a new value to a data dictionary, just mention the name of the key on the left hand side, dictionary 1, then square brackets, name of the key equals to 360. This is the new value. Earlier I am having 350, but I want to update that. So IT data dictionary will be displayed. The value corresponding to the marks key will be updated to 360. So similarly, as I said, if some key is not existing, like discipline is not available in the already existing dictionary 1. So I am trying to assign the value CSC to that. So it will just look into the data dictionary DICT1. It will not found any key with the name discipline. So it will simply add discipline colon CSC as the fourth item in the data dictionary, as shown here in the output. Yes, participants, please convey. Is this point clear to all of you? If some key value pair is not existing, so it will simply mention new key value pair. Very good, Mr. Madhu Sharma. So he has added an entry with the name Ram followed by the list of two contact numbers. And as it is a data dictionary, so all values will be enclosed within curly brackets. Very nice. So now next job is to delete the item. It is restricted in tuples, but definitely you can go for deletion of the item from a list as well as from data dictionary. If you want to remove, so a particular key is to be mentioned, so the complete key value pair will be removed. So if you want to remove from the above dictionary ID, so ID followed by colon and 1, this complete entry will be deleted. Now, I am interested in knowing whether a particular key is available in dictionary 1 or not. In the above data, you only have name, marks, discipline. As I have deleted ID, if I want to look for gender, name and ID, these three keys. So in first case, gender is not available in dictionary 1. In is the membership operator. It will check for this key in dictionary 1. Response is false. In the second case, name, response is true. In the third case, ID, the response is true. So if you have deleted the same, then it will give means maybe this code has been executed earlier, and this is actually not in. That's why the response is true. Can you focus over here? It is not in. If I will put ID in, it will show me false. So I have mentioned here ID not in. It means ID not available. So that's why response is true. So I hope up till this point it is clear to all of you. Please give response here in the chat window. In case any query, you can just write here in the chat window. So now the next important concept is every.
Thank you.
So the next important point is, in every data dictionary, we people are having two things associated. One is keys, one is values. So if in a single go you want to know what are the different keys in your data dictionary, so this is the way. We have created here an employee data dictionary including ID, name and salary. So if I will write here emp.keys, it will simply retrieve all the keys in the data dictionary. The response will be ID, name and salary. So if we are passing the command emp.values followed by this parenthesis, this is basically a function which I'm trying to call with respect to data dictionary. So values will retrieve all the values from the data dictionary. So the answer will be 101, Ashok and 15,000. So these list of keys and values are displayed here in the output. This is with respect to only keys. This is with respect to only values. So if your aim is to just retrieve the values, you can go for dot values. And if you want to only pick all the keys, then go for name of the data dictionary dot keys. And if you want to fetch combined both key and value pair, then emp.items. So these three functions are helpful for you while iterating over the data dictionary. At a one go, I'm not interested in displaying all the values, but I want to retrieve one by one all the data dictionary items using the for loop. So there you will be needing keys, values and items, these three things. So the next is nested data dictionary. So here you can see here that I have created a nested data dictionary just like a nested list. One is the first, key value colon, and then it is followed by further a data dictionary. I hope you can got my point. It's a nested one. So every value itself is again a data dictionary. So corresponding to one, I'm specifying name of the person, age of the person, gender of the person. Corresponding to, let's say, two, I'm again specifying name, age and gender of the person. And similarly, we can specify for as many people in the list. So now the interesting part over here is just like the nested list, how we will go about now referring to, I want to retrieve age of the person with the key value 1. So you will retrieve the element in this list for the age attribute, like people is the name of the data dictionary. 1 is the key value. It means this one. And with respect to 1, I want to retrieve the value stored for name. That is John. So within the next square bracket, I will mention the key name, name. Similarly, age you can retrieve. Similarly, gender you can retrieve. If you want to fetch it for second person, so the first index value will be replaced with the key value 2. People 2 name, people 2 age, people 2 gender. So next is how to put one more entry in the nested data dictionary. So if you want to add a third item, all information, name, age, gender, status with respect to one new person. So you can put it on the left hand side. People 3 name is Luna, people 3 age 24, people 3 gender female. And just observe over here, this married, this fourth key value is not available in rest of the other items. So you can see here that it will be added to this particular entry, which was not available earlier. So if you want to now delete this particular newly added key, so you can simply mention for the people 3, delete the component with respect to married key. So it will simply delete the 4th key value pair in the person 3 information and so on. So kindly convey if it is clear till now how to work with nested list. I have copied here the link. Someone's request came for remote center attendance. So you can simply fill it here in this link. So it means it's quite interested to work with nested data dictionary, nested list. So as complex your data is, accordingly you can mention the things. But the thing over here is it works well with respect to small data. Let's say it's all about only 5%, 10%. But in actual, if it is, with respect to many persons, so usually the data is stored within files only. And in between, if you are working with some particular column in the file, definitely after retrieving the column, you can store the values in a list. So in between your code, you may be needing it for processing. But in general, we prefer working with files, and the file data may be retrieved within a list. One particular column is retrieved and stored in list, and then you are trying to operate upon it. So this is all about the 3 data structures. I hope the things are clear to all of you. Now the house is open for queries. Similarly, you can have other data structures also. You can work with that. So I try to cover the 3 basic data structures, that is list, tuples, and data dictionary. So by today, the centers who are attending, the material for yesterday will be shared, and today's data as per the information received. If Sarabjit sir have shared with me, I will definitely share it today evening. I have received from Dr. Mahipal, so I will forward it to the local coordinators, and rest of the participants will get it from them. I will share now, sir, after class. I will share after the class. Actually, many of the remote centers have not fully, uh, filled the attendance form. So it was not sure how many of them are attending. So to the centers who are connected with us, the material will be forwarded after the session. It's not feasible for me to share on individual email ID. That's why local coordinators are appointed. So information will be shared with only local coordinators, and you will get it through your coordinators only. Are you getting me? We are connected with more than 20 centers, so it's not possible for me. The communication will be channelized to your local coordinators. So you can seek for the material or rest of the instructions from your local coordinators. So I hope the things are clear to you. In case if any center is left for attendance or some other clarity is needed, so I am available here. You can ask. Okay, everyone. So we are winding up the session. The material will be shared with you. I will share with the local coordinators, and accordingly you can utilize. So tomorrow, see you all at 9:30 a.m. for the next session. I will share the link, sir. Just wait. Mr. Javed Akhtar, wait for a while. The link is copied here, sir. In case you left, then you can fill. Just fill one time, not many times. It is not needed. Is it fine with all of you? Okay, fine. Then we are stopping here only. So we will join back tomorrow at 9:30 for the next session to be taken by, I think it's by Shruti Vadva on heart attack prediction using logistic regression and pneumonia reduction using SVM. And don't worry about the material as per the information received. Side by side, I will share with you people.
Ma'am, can we leave?
डॉक्टर नीता आपके यहाँ से कितने अटेंड कर रहे हैं? डॉक्टर नीता, आर यू देयर? हाँ जी मैम, एक्चुअली सुबह थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन रही, आपके बिहाफ पे शायद 2 अलग-अलग पर्सन्स ने ज्वाइन किया था, मिस्टर मधु शर्मा एंड वन मोर पर्सन रोशन लाल आई थिंक। आर दे फ्रॉम योर इंस्टीट्यूट? हाँ, आर यू गेटिंग माय ऑडियो मैम? Am I audible, Dr. Neeta Singh? Dr. Neeta?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, डॉक्टर नीता, मैं जस्ट कंफर्म कर रही थी, आपके बिहाफ पे सुबह शायद किसी और फैकल्टी ने ज्वाइन किया था ना, मिस्टर रोशन लाल, आई डोंट नो, रोशन लाल, मधु शर्मा, तो मैं भी कंफ्यूज थी कौन ज्वाइन कर रहा है। देन दे फिल्ड अप द गूगल फॉर्म, local coordinator Dr. Neeta Singh and number of participants Roshan Lal / Madhu Sharma. So could you please confirm what is the participant count at your remote center? मैंने उन्हें बोला था कि आप इसको चेंज कर दीजिए, तो वो शायद समझ नहीं पाए इंस्ट्रक्शन। हाँ जी मैम,
Ma'am, today it is 23.
अच्छा आज 23 था, कल कितना था? तो वेरिएशन है आपके यहाँ। तो मैं 23 डाल दूं उसमें, इफ इट इज 23। आपका देखिए वेरिएशन ना हो जाता ना, जो आप डाटा डाल रहे हैं और जो एक्चुअल है।
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute.
खलील सर, आपके यहाँ कैसा चल रहा है? खलील अहमद सर,
यस मैम।
कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं आ रही है?
नहीं मैम, ठीक चल रहा है।
आपने इंटरेक्ट नहीं किया आज सुबह बिल्कुल भी, तो आई थॉट सर बिजी है लगता है।
सॉरी मैम।
मैंने कहा आपके सेंटर से इंटरेक्शन नहीं हो पाई थी मॉर्निंग।
या मैं थोड़ा कहीं बाहर गया था और दूसरे टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट यहाँ पे कर रहा था असिस्ट उस वक्त।
अच्छा, कौन है जो आपको असिस्ट कर रहे हैं?
मैं महराज खालिद हैं, एसटीए।
अच्छा महाराज, वो होता है क्या, जब गूगल मीट में कुछ बीच बीच में ना कुछ नए नए पर्सन कर रहे होते हैं कनेक्ट, पता नहीं लगता है।
मैं लॉग इन करके गया था मैम, सिर्फ उनको कहा था
हाँ,
देखो ना।
मेरे पास तो सिर्फ आपका नाम है, इसी तरह ना
जी,
बाकी
जी।
सेंटर्स को भी मैंने कम्युनिकेट किया है कि
जी,
अगर
जी।
कोई आपके साथ जैसे आपके बिहाफ पे करता है ना ज्वाइन, तो मुझे थोड़ा सा बता दिया करो चाहे मैसेज में ना,
ओके मैम, ओके।
अदरवाइज ऐसे लगता है कि कई बार लिंक बाहर किसी और को शेयर हो जाता है, तो हम अलाउ नहीं करते उसको।
ओके मैम।
हाँ, आप लोग किसी को भी कोई आपके साथ कर रहे हैं तो उनका नाम बस मेरे को शेयर कर दीजिए ताकि मैं अलाउ कर सकूं उनको।
नहीं मैम, सिर्फ वही जो टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट साथ में वो देख लेता है यहाँ पे, अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम
हाँ
हो वो देख
हाँ,
लेता
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है सर, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है,
है।
बस मेरी नॉलेज में होता है तो फिर मेरे को दिक्कत नहीं होती है ना पहचान में।
जी मैम, ओके।
लास्ट टाइम क्या रहा कि हमारे यहाँ फैकल्टी कोर्स कर रहे थे, तो लिंक काफी और लोगों के साथ शेयर हो गया,
अच्छा।
तो
नहीं, वो सम फैकल्टी आर आस्किंग फॉर
हाँ,
वी
डिसिप्लिन
आल्सो।
मेंटेन करने में कई बार बड़ी दिक्कत हो जाती है, तो somehow he had to change the again link.
मैं वो
Are you
कह रहे
getting
थे
my point?
फैकल्टी हमें शेयर करना, आपको अलो नहीं होगा, आप बिल्कुल लैब में ही
हाँ
आना है, वहीं पे
हाँ
अटेंड करना है।
हाँ जी, हाँ
जी, जी।
ठीक है ठीक है। सो आई एम वाइंडिंग अप द सेशन, आई होप इट्स फाइन विद ऑल ऑफ यू। So
Yes.
my only instruction was that local coordinators should fill the remote center attendance once in a day, right?
Okay, ma'am.
So that is all about from my side. See you all tomorrow. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.